came to Canada in 2013, leaving my husband that I have just said I do to, and about 5 months pregnant. Knew absolutely no one. The only connection that I had when I came was Conestoga College, the international office. I've always been a rebel. I applied for international for a job at Conestoga College as a student, and everybody told me, you won't get it, but I got it. Give yourself grace. Celebrate the wins, the little wins. Celebrate even the setbacks. Nobody's story is the same. I tell people that you need to ask for help. If there's anything in my life that I think has helped, is the fact that I like to ask for help. My name is Fidelia Ukueje. I am also one of the founders and the current president of Nigerians in the region of Waterloo. So my name is Fidelia Ukueje. I always like to say that I wear many hats, and it defines every hat that I wear. It depends on the moment. But like I said, my name is Fidelia Ukueje. I am a mom. I'm a wife. I am an event planner. I'm a social planner with the region. I am also one of the founders and the current president of Nigerians in the region of Waterloo. And yeah, that's who I am in a nutshell. I am very passionate about people and community building, because just I'm a social being, and I get my energy from being with people. So for me, that gives me energy. Just being with people and growing and thriving with people, it gives me. That's my, what did you say? That's what keeps me going. That's my passion. But just taking a deeper dive, like I said, I'm a social planner. I work with the region of Waterloo, and I work in children's services. And what that means for me is that I do equity-related projects that helps with quality childcare as well as equitable access into childcare. And that is important because historically, vulnerable families, marginalized families, or underrepresented families we've not seen them in childcare. And the region is intentionally ensuring that moving forward, we want to see a good representation in childcare. So that's kind of my role. I think of ideas on how we can make our childcare system more representative of our demography. And in addition to that, just ensuring that childcare in itself is quality. Because when you get it right from the foundation, it's a generational reward. So that's my job. Outside of my job, I am the president of Nigerians in the region of Waterloo. And that came to be in 2016. Okay, I'm going to tidy. This is the perfect segue to my immigrant journey. So I came to Canada in 2013. My immigrant journey is a very interesting one in the sense that it's not only about the journey itself, it's about even my journey in life. Because prior to my coming, I had just gotten married. I was about 6 months into marriage and about 5 months pregnant. So I came into Canada 2013, just leaving my husband that I have just said I do to and enjoying marital bliss, and of course pregnant. Came in, knew absolutely no one. The only connection that I had when I came was Conestoga College, the international office, right? And I was straight up open to them because I wanted them to know that I was pregnant and I would need all of that support. My husband was not coming with me. I had no one. So I said, please, I need some form of connection. And they connected me with a Nigerian, Hamid, and said, oh, okay, he can help you. It's fine that you're pregnant. We don't have any issues with people being pregnant. There are pregnant students everywhere. As long as you can do it, that's fine. And I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I'm sure I can do it. Now, this is because I had that courage because we were also told that within the space of 3 months, my husband would be able to join me. So I'm like, okay, 3 months should be fine. He'll be here before the baby comes. So I think I can manage. So anyway, fast forward, I came into Canada May 2013. Hamid had already helped me to get accommodation. Then it wasn't so challenging as it is now to get accommodation. As long as you pay, you were good. So I got my accommodation before I came and booked my transportation from the airport. Literally landed, and the first 2 people I met were Nigerians. They helped me they saw that I was pregnant, so they quickly helped me. Auntie helped me into my room. Her maid had told one of the housemates, who was also Nigerian, that the Nigerian woman is coming. So that one made rice. So like I'm meeting Nigerians who are helping me carry my things, and then another Nigerian is offering me rice. Like, I'm like, it doesn't even feel like I have left Nigeria, right? So I met that family immediately I came in. Like, I met a family unit immediately I came in. And that has been the support that I got from the get-go. Like, then Conestoga College we didn't have as many Nigerians as we have today. So the few of us, immediately, we always would gravitate to one another. And then for them, it was also like the first time having a pregnant Nigerian student. So everybody was like on my case, checking on me, taking care of me. My journey was rough because at the end of the day, my husband couldn't join me for the next almost 6 years. But the Nigerian community stood by me from the moment, like I said, from my arrival. I had people that would always check on me. My auntie, are you okay? Do you need groceries? To when I had my son, I had a baby shower. Strangers had baby shower, had loads of gifts. Then I had my baby. The pastor at Redeem Potter's house baited my son for me for like the first 1 week. They organized naming ceremony, and I had all of the students then, like most of them, like that I was still friends now. Messi, Uncle Femi, Rahim, everybody, the ladies, everybody kind of like was rallying around me to take care of Jason was our baby. It was every Nigerian's baby. So I got that support until my mom came about 2 weeks later. I'm saying all of this because this is what led to what we call Nairo today. That support that I got. Like midnight, I'm a brand new mom. So I will always blow things out of proportion. If my son was not breathing right, I'm calling someone in the midnight and people will show up. So all of those experiences, that support stayed with me for the longest time. And fast forward to 2016, when I felt like I was a bit stable. At that time, I'd graduated and got my job at Conestoga College as an academic support clerk, which I did for 8 months, and then moved to a program assistant role. 2016, I felt like I was in a good place to give back. So I gathered a few people together and I said, we need to start. This is my story. And I want to believe you guys have your own stories. And immediately everybody said, yeah, I have my own story. Nigerians did this to me, Nigerians. I said, we need to pay it back. More Nigerians are starting to come. We need to come together and form a group where we can give people that home away from home experience. That's how Nairo was born. So my career part, I'm going to go spiritual with it because even for me, in my recent moment of reflection, I've just come to the realization that it was just orchestrated. So I grew up wanting to be a medical doctor, like passionately wanting to be a medical doctor. I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help people be better. So I thought medicine was for me. So I went to Madonna University to do medicine. And by second year, I changed my mind. I told my dad that this is not for me. I saw cadavers and I'm like, no, there is nothing in this world that will make me stand next to a dead body, talk less of dissecting one. But I still knew that there was something in me that I needed, like, for me, I felt like my passion was still helping people. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's not medicine. It will come one way or the other. So it was a very heartbreaking moment. But I said, that's not my calling. I had to go back home to write JAMB. Somehow in the whole confusion, I was like, oh, I'm going to, and long and short, I went to Uni and I graduated from industrial chemistry. But while I was there was something, like I said, something that like you have to be with people. Like it's about people. So as a student, I started planning events for folks. And they're like, you're so good at event planning. You're so good at event, make a business out of it. I'm like, oh, can you make a business out of event planning? Like, oh yes. So by my third year, I started Delia's Signature. And I started doing events for people, graduated, served, and I served with Pfizer Nigeria. So during my time, I worked as a regulatory officer, and after my 1 year, my then director was like, do you want to continue working with Pfizer, or do you want to do the event planning? Because during my time, I helped organize one of the launch. I was like, you could be a vendor for Pfizer. And I was like, 9 to 5 has never really been my thing. Because again, especially when I started doing events, I'm like, 9 to 5, maybe I should be a Pfizer vendor. So I registered to be a Pfizer vendor, and I started doing events on a corporate level. So I was doing events like on that level, like nobody's negotiating with you, you're giving them, this is the price. So I was very okay with that. And during that time too, I lost 2 of my siblings to sickle cell. And one of the ways that I handled or dealt with their death was I felt like I needed to immortalize them. So in addition to being an event planner, I started Tony May Foundation in honor of my brother and sister, Anthony and Mary. And God's hand was just on it. Tony May Foundation just grew big. Like from an idea to, like it just grew big. Like we had people opening up, talking about sickle cell. And also those 2 kept me busy. Event planning on one side and then Tony May Foundation. So fast forward to coming to Canada, I was like, I came to Canada because of the health issues. The death of my brother and sister really got to me, and I was like, I needed to leave Nigeria to be in a place where at least the health system was dependable. So that was my reason for coming to Canada. So I'm like, what program are you going to do? I was like, well, you know what? I've been doing event planning without even having the skill to do it. I've just been doing it from my head, like just from the passion, just from, and, so the closest thing to event planning for me was project management. And I applied to come do project management. And that's what got me into my role at Conestoga College, and also what got me into my role at the region. However, what also helped me getting into my role is the work that I've been doing in the community through NIRO. So when I say it is all orchestrated, I feel like God was preparing me. Yes, medicine was not you, but God was preparing me for this role that I'm in, because this role, getting into this role, I find that the requirement is for you to have a master's in social work, which I don't have. But I was taken in because of experience with the community, my project management background. But as for me to grow in this role, I am back in school now, I'm working towards getting my master's in social work. And this is the first time that I'm doing something academically that I feel like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to have been doing from the get-go. I feel like now I'm in school for what I'm supposed to be doing. Event planning is a passion for me. That's something you will wake me up and say, do, and I'm like, but this is the first time career-wise I feel like, yes, I have gotten it. Social works is my thing. I think one thing that is coming to mind, one of the biggest challenge was, of course, the IRCC, the journey. I told you how my husband didn't come it took about almost 6 years for him to come. I think my biggest challenge was the immigration part. There was a time I was out of status and couldn't work in Canada. And also just not being the fact that my family was apart for the longest time. I think it took a toll on even on my career part, because for the longest time my focus was bringing my family here, and I wasn't really motivated to push anything. Like I didn't want to. Like I'm someone who, when I'm in a position, I look for opportunities to grow. I don't just settle. I'm not that. I can't be in a position for the longest time. That's not good for me. Like you want to be growing. But that phase, my only goal was to bring my husband here. So that took a toll on the career part itself. And even it took a toll on the marriage. And I'm saying this because that is one part of the immigration journey that I feel like people don't talk enough on. So whether it's a case of the families are apart or whether they are together, immigration takes a huge toll on the family unit. And if we start to look at data, we'll see that a lot of families have separated just because they made their decision to leave one country for another. And I'm just saying that again, because we don't talk enough about it, and I think we should. Like, it should be part of the support that is offered from the get-go so that families can stay together. So for me, I think that's the huge and the biggest challenge. But to God be the glory. The other part of the question is, how did I navigate it? I think at some point I had to just say, this is out of my control. I like to, because I'm such a problem fixer, I feel like I need to fix a problem. But I've also started to learn, or I'm also on that path where I now understand that if it's truly within your control, you would have fixed it. So when I've tried and tried, now, the Fidelia of now, if I've done it 2-3 times, I know that this is beyond me. So I kind of allow nature take its course and then think of other ways to grow. So back to my story. At that point, I knew that there's nothing I can do to influence IRCC. So I'm just going to wait and just let nature take it course. And by nature taking its course, I meant that we stopped applying for my husband to come. Yeah, we had to. Like, after the 5th time, we were like, no, it's okay. Yeah, we stopped. We agreed. Yeah. So we agreed. We're like, no, we're going to rest. I'm going to focus now on getting my PR, because all of that journey made me not to focus on getting the proper length of my work permit. And so because of that, I didn't get enough points to, of course, to cross over to the PR side of things. So I was out of status. It's a whole other story in itself. And I had to apply for PR through humanitarian and compassionate grounds. So at one point, we both agreed that, you know what, we're going to stop focusing on you focus on staying in Canada. So I had to apply through the H&C route, and to God be the glory, that worked. Then the other side of it is, I now need to, like, the moment I got my work permit back, I'm like, I now need to start to work and like really focus on work. I'm going to stop settling for factory jobs and really do what I spent so much money coming to do. That's when I applied for the Conestoga College job, went for the interview. That was the first job I applied for when I got my work permits back. And I got that job. And from there, I'm like, it's only going to be growth moving forward. So at the college, every opportunity I could take to develop myself, to develop my skill, I took it. Like, I reflect a lot on myself, and I'm very true to myself. I tell myself, these are your weaknesses. These are the areas where you need improvement. Like, when I got in that role, I could not do anything Excel, and that there was a lot of, so on my own, I did a lot of training to bring me up to par with the skill that was required for that role. So that's the kind of person that I am. I evaluate, these are your strengths and these are your weaknesses, and how do I up my game? So that has been my practice even up until now. And so that's how I navigated the immigration pace. But I think I talked also about my career part. How I also navigate my career challenges is I just look at my weaknesses, build upon it, and I am not shy to ask for help. I tell people that you need to ask for help. If there's anything in my life that I think has helped, is the fact that I like to ask for help. I don't believe that you are a fountain. In fact, you could be a fountain of knowledge, but I don't believe that you could know it all. So I always know when to ask for help and seek guidance. I believe a lot in mentorship, and I think that those have helped. Now, to the marital piece, it's been intentional. Just the intentionality that, for me, I'm not going to be the one to start divorce. But I also know that you can also stay in a toxic relationship. So what do you do to bring a healthy unit? Is one, bring the intentionality to stay together, but the intentionality to be better, and also mentorship. Like, I'm a huge fan of working with families who have gotten it right and seeking their guidance and mentorship to help you. So that we're there, but we're working towards it. Like, It is something that we're committed to. And I'm saying this because I think families, we need to talk more about how immigration impacts families and why it's important for us to keep that unit together. That again, that's not to say that if you cannot be together, you cannot. But I feel like a lot of the divorces and separations that have happened, if there was just a little more effort, families will stay together. I think I grew up in a family where my dad always rang it in our ears that if you are the only successful person in the midst of poverty, you are poor. So he ingrained in us that the need or the importance of holding everybody's hand along you. Because, and not just that, we also saw it. Growing up seeing one person where everybody was dragging for their needs wasn't also a pleasant experience. So in addition to him sharing that, but seeing it, I think that really shaped that, passion for wherever I find myself. Like I'll gravitate to people who will help me grow, but at the same time, make sure that everybody around me is growing. So people will always say Nigerians like to hoard opportunities, which is true. We can't take that away, but I think for me, I think different. Like I don't care. I don't think it's about whether you are the most successful. It's more about if everybody's successful, there'll be less pressure on one another. There'll be less need to be jealous. So I guess all of that is also what shaped me to where I am, or the kind of person that I am. I'll use an example of when people just come into Canada and they connect with us. This is how this is what we tell them. It's very important that you are moving with the right set of people, because first off, it really sets the tone for which path you take. So if you're moving with people who came in with that mindset of, I just want to come here, any job, anyhow, my own is just to survive, you could get stuck in, again, there's no bad job, and people's priorities differ, people's wants differ. Some people just want to be in Canada, that's their goal. They don't care for career path. But where I'm going with that is, if your goal is you're coming here to settle, you want, regardless, it's just important that you're moving with the right set of people, or you're moving with people who would help you get towards that path that you want to get to, because it makes a whole lot of difference. And I'm going to personalize this. And like I said, when we came, it was a lot of, it is factory job, it is factory job, it is factory job. And a lot of us got stuck in that path until we started to break away. And like, no, we are not going to be here, right? But in recent time, I've seen that folks can actually go right into where, and not be the same level, but similar to what they were coming from. So for this time that we're in, this is very important that you're moving with people who can help mentor. People need to be open to mentorship. People just need to be open to mentorship. And what I mean by that is, so for an example, like there are a lot of people who want to go into project management that my husband mentors, like in terms of like interview prep, how to even put your resume together, how to even do the job, because it's different the way you do project management in Nigeria. Similar but different, right? So it's just I always just say open yourself to mentorship. Choose people, be intentional about choosing people who would help your career path, who will help you get to your career path. And that being said, I also think that it would be wrong of us to tell people that, oh, when you come into Canada, it's all fine and dandy. If you've come in, which we're saying now, a lot of people are coming with almost nothing. If you have to get into the next available job, which oftentimes is factory, do it. But make sure you tell yourself and constantly remind yourself that is a survival job. I'm not going to do it for the longest time. Like I tell people, make sure you're constantly reminding yourself, I'm not going to be stuck here. Because if you let yourself think, oh, I'm making that money, there's the tendency to get stuck in that part. But you're coming in and you know that, oh, I just need to do this for 1 or 2 months because I need to get cash flowing. Make sure that is your goal. And what that does for people is that while you're doing that job, you're coming home and you're still applying for the job that you're opening yourself for mentorship and all. It's kind of what I tell people. But at the end of it all, people also like to tell people that give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure, because that is where mental health issues start to come in. Where you have come, you feel like Canada is a land of milk and honey. So in 2-3 months, I should be making it. No. Give yourself grace. There are people who have been here 10 years and are just still finding their foot. People came 1 year. Nobody's story is the same. So give yourself grace and celebrate the little wins. But move with people who would help you get to where you want to go to. That's pretty much what I tell people. So my friend's husband, I like to use stories to tell my friend's husband was the regional manager, Benin, Zenith Bank, Pepe rested, everything. And he was like, I'm only going to join my wife in this Canada journey if you tell me the truth. I schooled in the UK, so I know that it is not as easy as my wife is painting it. And I was honest with him. I said, bros, yes, you are right. It will be false of me to tell you that, yes, when you enter Canada tomorrow, you will get regional manager. Like, wow. Let's be real with people. I'm like, no. However, when you put in some months or possibly years of getting some Canadian experience, you can always tie it back to your experience and apply for that role. And that has been their journey. I think they've been here 3-4 years now, and he's almost at that level where he was in Nigeria. But that expectation was set from the get-go. But what I also told him, why are you coming to Canada? What is the goal? Is it just because of the job? There was something else that made you and your family decide, or your wife decided to start hounding you about Canada. I was like, oh, the kids. So let that be your motivation while you're pushing your career goal. So let's tell people what was the biggest motivating factor, which for most of us, it is getting, just being in that space where you have the opportunity to grow. So keep reminding yourself of that. If the kids, for me, it was about the kids and the health system. That's what drives me. And that's why, for me, I always prioritize the well-being of the kids over what I'm earning as a salary. Of course, I want to continue to grow, I want to continue to earn more. But my priority is what brought me here. Which, sorry, it's not part of the question, and I'm going to say it. We lose sight of that thing. And I'm saying it because you mentioned it about what are our kids saying. Sometimes when these things are not happening and frustration sets in, gets us to the point where we now lose it and we completely settle. Now at this point, because we pursued money so much, we are not even creating time for the children that brought us. Now we're not even still setting this precedent to these children that it's okay to settle. So for me, I think I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to say, as much as we are pushing for all of these things, we also need to remember that these children that we have, that's the seed that we're sowing for generations to come. So if we neglect them and their well-being, it's not just going to impact them, it's going to, you see this GDP we are trying to build, it might not be this generation, but it could be through the generation of our kids. Imagine if we all get it right and set our kids in the path of success. If these are our kids that will set that generation where they are all like EDs, directors, owners of companies that tomorrow when they say call Nigerians in Canada, they will say, don't joke with that tribe. With our kids. So what am I saying in essence? I have to be very intentional to create time for our kids and their well-being and how they thrive. Because right now, the reports that we are seeing, it's not looking good, behavioral-wise, and the issues that they're getting into in school. So there should be a lot of intentionality in making our time for these kids that most of us say brought us here. I think I'm very settled. I think I see Canada as my home. I see Kitchener as my village now. Yeah. And I think what has helped to make that happen is I allowed myself to let the process, like, be part of the process. Let the whole process take its course. And in doing so, I didn't also alienate myself from the community. Like, I integrated. And when I say integrate, it's not just with your Nigerian community, like with the community as a whole. So I'm very intentional. I would say myself and my husband, we're very intentional. Like, we always make this joke in the house that we didn't come all the way from Nigeria to only to Parakbo. So we've been very intentional in creating that family unit of Nigerians, of diverse community. So we have tribes with almost every, and that helps creating a sense of belonging, right? Of course, the job, you have a very good job that you're happy doing, gives you that sense of fulfillment, also helps. Canada is a beautiful place, like, even despite the dark history that it comes with. I think it's personally for me, I shared that at the beginning, that I came here because of grief, and at the same time I wanted my kids to be in a place where I would have peace of mind, and I think I achieved that. So yeah, I think all of that, knowing that I met the objectives of why I came here, I've built a tribe of like-minded people, whether Nigerians or not. I think that has helped. Well, I miss having family. Like, now I'm going to go like your nitty-gritty family, because I believe I have family. I've created family here. And when I say family here in Canada, I mean not just my nuclear family, like even the friends and all that I have, but like with Nigeria, just that family unit that, you know, you can go to mommy, daddy, cousin, and we can do life together. I miss that. I miss the hustle and bustle of Lagos. As crazy as it is, I do miss it. I miss that I can't go to Silverbed Galleria every Tuesday to watch half-price movie, but you say I can do, but there was just something about it in Nigeria I can't lay my hands on. But I really miss that life, that community life, that camaraderie back home. I miss the food. Even though we have African stores here, there's just something fresh about the food back home. No matter how much of egusi and all I make here, it's always different. The one back home is different because it's fresh. So I miss that. But then how do I relax? I've shared that at the start of the conversation, that I draw my energy from people. So I'm very intentional about having people around me, people who impact me positively. I make that a habit to always wine and dine with my friends. We love to travel and explore, so we do that as a family. But personally, I love to do Netflix a lot. Like, for my own personal relaxation, I like to do Netflix. I like to do massages and my spa. I don't, especially because it's covered too, right? So that's my way of start my self-care personally. So I don't joke with that. I use it. I'm paying for it. They're taking it out of my salary, so I use it. But that's how I take care of myself in a nutshell. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, and know that no two persons' journey is the same. In my own case though, I think I've always known that no two persons' journeys are the same, because for some reason I've always been a rebel. So I would say that to newcomer immigrant because it worked for me, and it's why I can confidently say it. So like again, I know this is the third time I'm saying, but I know when we came in, I applied for international for a job at Conestoga College as a student, and everybody told me you won't get it. They don't give international students; those jobs are for domestic students. But I got it. I applied. There's always something in me that tells me do it. Worst case scenario is you won't get it. To their point, you will not get it. They don't give international students, but you don't lose anything if you don't apply for it, right? So in my case, I applied and I got a job even as a student. Pregnant. I got that job, student telephone caller to raise funds. I got that job. I still had that job after I had Jason. And then I did some factory job. However, like I said, when I got my work permit back, I intentionally told myself, I will not do factory job for the longest time. It is not. I didn't come to Nigeria to be stuck in factory job. So even though it was the thing, it was either factory or PSW, I'm like, no, I spend money doing project. I am going to pursue a field in project management. So I will apply for jobs. My worst case scenario, you don't get it, but I will put in that application. And so what I'm saying in a nutshell is I've learned early in life to always look at cup half full rather than half empty. So what I would tell myself is the only other part, in addition to no two journeys are the same, give yourself grace, because I think I'm the hardest critic of myself. So give yourself grace. Celebrate the wins, the little wins. Celebrate even the setbacks, because I think I was in my head for the longest time when I wasn't bringing my husband in or when I had the immigration problem. But if I allowed myself to see joy in that moment and say, you know what, it is part of the journey. And again, all of this experience shaped me to be who I am now. That's all part of the story now. Like I don't know that my story will be the story it is if my life went perfectly. So give myself grace is what I would say. I think I look at success from different dimensions depending on where I'm looking at. So again, I'm rambling too much. I look at it from my personal life. I look at it as a mom. I look at it as a wife. I look at it as from career side. As a mom, it's waking up every morning and seeing my children and being able to see that beautiful smile on their face. I'll share this part. I don't know whether you need to put it in the interview. I have sickle cell too, right? And I grew up being told that you won't live to see 21. So I never lived a life where I had ambition of I want to be a medical. I started wanting to be a medical doctor after I crossed 21. So that's why if you truly look at when I went into university, I was already over 21 when I went into university. Because for the longest time, my goal was just to hit 21. Right? Yes, and for people who say, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm over 40. So, yeah, so my goal for the longest time was just to hit 21. So after I hit 21, that's when I started even having some career aspiration. But even at that, I think for me, it was I just want to have kids. I just want to even have kids so that when I go eventually, if this sickle cell gets me, there'll be little Fidelias to hold on to. So for me, success is the fact that I have kids now and I wake up every morning to see their beautiful face. Every day with my kids is a success story. It's a success story. Career, for every milestone that I'm able to hit career-wise, so for every stage of promotion, for every project that I'm able to complete, for every impact that I'm able to make in somebody's life, because for some reason my career path has always been about impacting, like you're helping and people-facing. My job is very people-facing, so being able to develop that skill where I'm able to put ideas or initiatives or policies in place to better people's life is a success for me. As a person, just for every of my weaknesses that I'm able to work on and be better at, that's a success story for me. And just being able to impact, and yeah, just the ability to impact and being able to just like share with the next person, or like, I don't know, that's success to me. Like, I don't look at success in success for me is not tangible. It's more the intangibles that I consider success.